Well, we are live, Dwayne. Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, look at us in our lovely coppers and chocolate colors. Absolutely amazing. How are you today, doll? We haven't even had a chat before the show to say hello because we rushed in last minute. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. It's a different kind of copper energy. We'll talk about it today. A different kind of copper energy after getting back from vacationing in Costa Rica.
I know you were meant to be on the copper show just after I did the black, and you said I'm away. So very kindly Zane came in and took your slot there. All right, I'm just going to make sure that my other computer next to me is on, and I can see if anybody joins us in the chat, so we can just keep an eye on chat on people visiting us. All right, so we're going to talk about copper today, because you're the only male author in our book, for the 11 pearls of wisdom. You were the only male that said, I have a pearl of wisdom to share with the world. So we're going to chat about that today. I'm just making sure that we've got, if anybody is coming in, there we go. All right. Okie dokie, just catching up with us. There you go. The screen seemed to freeze just a little bit there. So hopefully we don't have any technology problems today. So Dwayne, I'm also going to ask the audience today if they would like to pick a number. So I'm going to just switch the camera here and remind everybody that they can pick the number 1, 2, or 3. Which number are you drawn to today?
3, I guess, was when you first asked me, 3 was the first one I said. So.
Okay. Cool. So you're choosing number 3. Fantastic. Okay. So audience members, what you do is you feel which one you're drawn to, number 1, 2, or 3. And there'll be a little color message, a little a positive inspiration, and maybe a pearl of wisdom, who knows, that we can share at the end of the show today. And the show is about 30 minutes long. We aim for about a 30-minute show, so you don't have too long to wait for your message. But it would be nice if you popped into the comments which number you are choosing when you join our show. Okay, fabulous. We actually have holidays all over. I think the US, the UK, they all have holidays today. So people might be out holidaying today. So I don't even know if we'll get a live audience today, Dwayne, but let's hope so.
Always watch the replay.
Yep, a lot. Well, yeah, the replay, we get hundreds of views on the replay. So that's, we have lovely support for the show. So that's very, very nice. All right. So, I really just wanted to talk about the copper pearl because it wasn't an original bottle in actually, you know what, as I'm just looking at mine, I noticed that it's cracked. Oh my goodness me, I don't know if you can see it. Well, the camera might not pick it up, but I've got a crack in this bottle. That's interesting. That's the next bottle to buy then. The copper pearl wasn't the original pearls that Melissa brought and introduced to us in 2018 in that workshop she came to do in Canada. It was something that was added later, and it was done by Karani Connolly. And Karani, who is just this incredible healer and author and scribe and presence in color mirrors. She literally elevates color mirrors. She just has this amazing connection with Elohim. Came through with this copper pearl one day, and I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, that is just absolutely luscious. And she's the one who said everyone enjoyed it so much they nicknamed it the chocolate pearl. And of course we have got copper bottles in color mirrors. Like for this one, for example, is the G1 bottle, Gaia 1. Copper stands for Gaia, the earth. This one is copper at the bottom and it has the clear light at the top. In the spritzers, we've got the earth bottle, and then another one that I really love, of course, is the copper dragon. So maybe when we write the next book, 11 Dragons of Wisdom, we'll have somebody write the copper dragon, So there's still a slot open for the book. So let me know if you want to be author in the next project. So, of course, earth means earthing, grounding, and a lot of what the copper in color psychology teaches us, it's like honey. It's the color of honey, and it sweetens our lives. And when you wrote your chapter, and we hadn't yet allocated which pearl was going to go for whom, immediately you came up as copper. You wrote a story about finding yourself, finding your identity, and coming from this muddy, confused kind of, I don't know who I am, and this path of discovery that you went on. So you were so the copper and of course you're a tax consultant, so you're very practical about life, and so you were so naturally going to be the copper pearl. So I'm very, very pleased that you joined the project, Dwayne, and that you added your presence and your energy to the book project. For that, I just want to take a moment to also say thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
So we got a couple of questions here. So when I read your chapter, what stood out for me was you wrote about what it's like when you don't know who you are, and you're shocked out of your identity, and then you who are you now? What you're in no man's land. And really what you wrote about was how you found yourself, but at the same time you also found the importance of finding that balance between work and play. So I really loved your chapter, and I know the readers have been enjoying it. When we had our launch, our celebrity forward writer, Christopher May, pointed you out as he found your chapter really, really inspiring. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. Are you ready for me?
Ready.
Okay. So being the only male author in the, men are not as open about emotions as women. They don't get all gushy-feely, right? Did you feel vulnerable when you wrote this chapter, exposing your story to a wider audience, to the reader? How was that process for you?
Challenging is a good word to start with. It was interesting because the beginning part came out quite quickly, which was the kind of the initial emotional piece, and then working with Deborah, the rest of it was just kind of like a little not necessarily blah, but it was more just stuff and not a lot of connection to it. So it was that initial was kind of the initial kick to get started, and then after that is to try and figure out how do you keep tying or expand on it or tie in or identifying the other the other emotions along the journey, right? Because there was that first initial shock. Which
you did, when you that first paragraph, you literally land the reader right into that moment of shock that you experienced. And what do you do now? That big question, what do I do now? And I know I've been there. I remember, oh my goodness, in South Africa, I was made redundant 7 times in 4 years. And I was a single mom with a mortgage. And I was just earning basic wage at the time. So every month I wasn't earning was very, very stressful for me. And I remember that last time, that 7th time, they said to me, oh, we're closing down the branch and all the staff have to go. It hit me in such a way that I just knew that I couldn't be the same person looking for the job, looking for another job, treading the same treadmill. Something had to shift. And I turned to Mother Nature in a way, because I went, I was driving down the beach and I was looking out towards the sea and the sky and having a conversation with God and saying, you don't want me to be employed. You want me to be something else. And you want me to be doing something else, but I don't know what it is. And it still, I didn't know right away what it was going to be. It kind of came, but just opening up that pathway to show me a different way was life-changing for me. And I just absolutely love what you shared, Dwayne. Let's have a look here. Let me just have a quick little look to see if I can't get any chats up. I'm not sure what's going on, but okay, we hope you enjoy the replay for those who are watching. And if you are joining us live, please pop a comment in and let us know if you're picking 1, 2, or 3. Now, you also are a writer. You've written for Amy's magazine, Amy Bell's magazine, United Colors of Design. What is the difference between writing a column versus putting a story, putting your information in a book, writing a chapter? What was different for you?
Yeah, in some cases, having the color ahead of time, well, actually for me, having the color ahead of time was easier. So with Amy's book, it was like black, so it was like out of the black and into the red. So it still took a bit of time to figure out what the spin on black was going to be, but we had those initial words associated with the color. So for again, and then even copper, the copper article that I wrote was about similar around what we actually looked at the copper penny and what is your value, or what is my value, and that in the sense of the penny, the the cost to make a penny was more than the value of a penny. So, and that can be sometimes our challenge as entrepreneurs as well, is to say, identifying what is our value and pricing our services appropriately. So that was a different way of going about it, because like I said, we knew the color already, where with this exercise, it was, now I actually had to write about me versus the article, we kind of a little bit about myself in the articles, but not that much, as more tips and strategies and advice for entrepreneurs in the article, where you gave us the guideline that the chapter was supposed to be about us.
Yeah.
More revealing, or can be more revealing.
And more vulnerable to write about.
More vulnerable, yes.
Yeah. And I remember that when I wrote when the Black story came to me, the Black Pearl, I had to write things that my family didn't even know about. They would be surprised when they read some of that stuff. But that's what authors do. It's that challenge to be authentic and real and share something of value, with somebody else who might be finding themselves in a similar position and looking for that pearl of wisdom, that way out, that way forward.
Yeah, and it's a balance of like sharing some personal, but not necessarily going so deep that it becomes awkward or uncomfortable for the reader as well, right? It's not like, I think I did okay.
Yeah, you don't want to.
And then with Deborah's help, we went a little deeper.
I see Joanne has joined us. Joanne Simpson in the UK has joined us. She's picked number 2. Hello, Joanne. Thank you for joining us. Please share it and let people know we're live. And everyone's on holiday in the UK and holiday in America, I believe. So we had our holiday, Canadian holiday, last Monday. Okay. Would you, having gone through this whole writing process now and finding that difference between writing for a magazine and writing something more personal, would you recommend writing and contributing to a book or creating a book as a healing process?
As a healing process, yes. Again, there's a funny story about how we first met, and it only took, it was 7 years to finally get the writing part of our meeting complete. Which is better than taking 9 years. If you take 9, it didn't take us the full cycle of 9 years to get it completed. But yeah, and then one of the questions that Deborah kind of asked me at the very beginning was like, what was part of it? What's your desired outcome, or what's not so much the goal, but kind of the goal? Like, what is the goal that you're hoping to achieve? So I think, if someone's going to do write it doesn't happen, because you could do it the other way. You could just start writing and then figure it out along the way, or you could do a little bit of thinking along the way to say, okay, who am I writing for? Like, am I writing for me, or am I writing for the audience? Am I trying to write something that's going to sell, or is it something just like a memoir, or writing to heal, which it can be very different, where you're just writing and you may never you don't necessarily have to publish, right? Like, you could just, and actually one of my tax clients now, she's actually got into running workshops around doodling, and doodling is a way of, which is, isn't necessarily words, but doodling as a way of relieving grief and other,
stuck emotions, and blocks, and
again, it's more free flowing doodling.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that's exactly why I did this program, because I found in the books I've written and the decks that it was a healing process for me, and it raised my self-awareness. It raised it, in the end, it's really good tools for marketing and promoting your business, but it was ultimately, for me, it was an experience where that grew me, that expanded my mind, and it made me more aware of the impact my energy has on people when I put words out there. So that self-awareness was priceless. And I thought, I'd love to pass this experience on to a group of people. And really, that's how the 11 Pearls of Wisdom, and with the collaboration book, how it originally came about. And yeah, and some authors couldn't do it. They couldn't face the judgments and the anger and the fear and the self-judgment, especially, that came up. So those 11 authors who made it into this book, just well done, and well done you too, Dwayne, because it's not easy. It's not an easy process, because in spiritually we're taught to love and to keep loving and to keep loving and loving ourselves. That's a really hard thing to do.
It helps with when you add a little color and you get to soak in the bathtub to make it a little bit. And that was again, a lot has changed with that shift, right? Was that it helped open up. You can crack the toughest nut.
One of the things that copper was very good in my business was that grounding aspect. It got me to be very, very practical. So what advice would you give, especially people who are spiritually seeking, they're beginning to kind of float in the ethers? What would you say to them is a very grounding thing to do, a very down to earth copper thing to do? What would help them? What's your advice? What do you do?
It's a good question. I did a lot of, well, one of the things I don't recommend, or I'll start with the opposite, is because I did this, lots of people, even in color mirrors for the longest time, people didn't actually know what I did.
Very practical, Dwayne. What do you do?
It's like lots of other things.
That's a very muddy brown copper confusion.
How do you earn? Like, and then part of it is like, how do you earn? So sometimes I ask, like, people say, how do you earn money? So if we go so trying to do too many things, I don't recommend. So answer to your question would be, what's the, because most people want to be of service. So if we go back to wanting to be of service, right? So if we're wanting to be of service, and then we say, well, what's the problem you solve? Because I just wanted to help people. So then I was like, oh, I want to help. I could go buy groceries for you. I could mow your lawn. I could learn to cut your hair. Like, there's all kinds of things. Like, we could go and learn more. And we could go and learn how to do skills, right? So I could take a course. I could take another modality. I could take a certification. But end of the day, it's what's the problem? So so up to like 3 years ago, when I stopped trying to sell insurance, and then I just started helping people with taxes, because everyone's got to file a tax return. And probably 9 times out of 10, people don't want to do their own taxes. They might think they want to do their own taxes to save money, but end of the day, no one wants to do their own taxes. And you say, well, it's a good way to start, to get a client. And then once you have a client, then you can offer them other things, not a bait and switch, but you can do other things with them after. So I can now have patterns and belief money conversations with my clients but after we got their taxes done. So now I'm earning like a basic income from my tax clients, and then you can do more things with them. But it's a lot easier when you have a client.
Yeah. And then when you have your captured audience, your client, then you can talk to them about what's the color of your money and what are the blocks you have to earning more money. If your taxes haven't worked out in the way that satisfies you, there could be a block in your life. Let's have that conversation. So I do love that is how you work, because you're not just a normal tax consultant. You're a tax consultant that comes with color.
Yeah, and like one of my clients said, oh, like, you're very very calm. I have like a number of new clients this year that are like 2, 3, 4, 10 years of not filing taxes. So like it's been a challenge, but like now coming with like trying to come with no judgment, because a lot of people are, if you went to an accountant, they like, and you're like, haven't filed a tax return in 10 years, the first time like, what the have you been doing for 10 years? And a lot of people have a lot of fear and just other
and colors that
emotions.
and colors that perfect analysis tool to figure out what is that fear, why you're not doing it. Because I remember you spoke about that funny incident when we met for the first time. You came to the color mirrors stand where all the bottles were, and you picked bottle 14, and I said, this is turquoise. It's about communication with the public, but it's also about a book writing. It's about you need to get a book out. You need to get information out. And we said, well, what's your block? And then you pick bottle 16, which also represents the saboteur, the ability to self-sabotage. So you happily for 7 years self-sabotaged the
Never
process
making
of writing the
time
book.
to, so I want to write, and then you never actually block out the
Yeah.
importance of, like, why don't people get their taxes then? You know, the taxes was due like May 1st or June 15th, and June 15th is still fast approaching for self-employed people in Canada. It's like, but eventually you just have to, it's easier to pick like a snowy day in March to sit down and sort out your paperwork than like
A beautiful day like
25-degree
today.
day in May. Now you got to do your, like, you still have to do it eventually.
Okay, so this takes me down the rabbit hole with you now. You did have that self-sabotage. The bottle indicated you had self-sabotage. That stopped you from actually getting a book out there. We eventually got there. We've done it. You've got there. You did it. What do you do with that self-saboteur? If that was your block, what do you, I mean, in Color Mirrors, we say to people, go bathe in the bottle and become aware of the pattern. But did that help you, knowing that you tend to self-sabotage those important milestones in your life? Has that helped you to know that? And will that help you in the future so that you can navigate around it?
Yeah, I think like exercise was an awareness to say, like, when you actually made time, like, identify. Part of it is also identifying like what do you really want? So sometimes we think of these things like, oh, I want to be, and that goes back to, again, kind of the chapter, like searching for, like, what do I, like, not necessarily what do I want to, like, who do I want to be, but it's like, who do you want to be? Like, and it's when you say, well, I want this, like, I would like this, and then what do you have to go to achieve that? So for me, like, lots of people say, oh, you need a book to be a high, like, to be a coach, you need a book. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't. Just go get a client, like, again, solve a big problem. And for me, it's like, I didn't need a book to get tax clients, though. Now it's nice to have a book to now use it as a next tool, so that if someone's not quite ready to work with me, I could say, well, here's a book, and you could read it and come back. Yeah, I think and then the next thing is, like, right back to what I just said, what, like, if you really want something, or the pain of your current pain is, the pain to change is greater than the pain of just trudging along and drifting, then you'll change. Like, I tackled my health this year. It wasn't painful yet, but I made a conscious decision that I'm like, I want to look after my health before it becomes an issue.
Oh,
So
that's a wonderful way to sidestep that block that you tend to have with self-sabotaging, putting it off and going, I'll start next week, and then next week comes and nothing happens. So yeah. Oh, Dwayne, I love it. I'm just checking Deborah, just looking at the thing. Deborah's come in from California. She says, good morning from California. And she's also chosen number 2, same as Joanne. Hi, Deborah. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. All right. Your poem in the book has gotten a lot of attention. I have had I can tell you now, I don't think I have told you this before, but your poem in the book, people love it. They think it is absolutely the cleverest thing they've ever read. So we get a lot of compliments from readers and feedback that they loved your poem. So I'm going to read just a little bit of it here, and then I'm going to ask you for some insights into this poem's background. Money, a symbol of wealth and power, yet its hold on us can devour our soul and spirit with its allure, making us forget what's truly pure. It creeps into our thoughts day and night, a constant worry and endless fight, as we chase after with all our might this green piece of paper that brings no delight. So if you want to read this further, guys, you've got to get the book, right? But that's just the first 2 little bits of the poem. So tell us about this poem, Dwayne. How did that happen? A big secret reveal time, by the way, guys.
Reveal, yeah, drum roll.
Drum roll.
Everyone's favorite topic is amazing. I always say it's amazing. how many experts there are. Similar to other things, it only takes about 5 minutes for there to be experts in the industry on AI, artificial intelligence,
Yes.
and everyone's favorite topic of the last couple months, I guess, Chat GPT. Yes, artificial intelligence wrote the poem.
Artificial
I should
intelligence.
say I asked the question, so I was the conductor, right? It's like, hey, you're the conductor of the orchestra. So the orchestra is playing, and they're playing a piece that was written by someone else, but the conductor is the person that leads them. So I was the person that sat in front of the computer and asked the question. And then really quickly, what's interesting is that if I probably sat down and asked the same question today, I may get a different answer.
Yeah, there's a variation. So I love that we have included in the book a artificial intelligent inspired piece of work, because I'm Aquarian, I'm from the future, and I have no judgments on technology. I used to, and I had to work through it. And I love how there's conversations these days about how artificial intelligence is other than. It's something evil. It's something that's going to it's going to have this power to destroy humanity, and it's going to take away our creativity and our ability to function. But I really honestly get that it's just another opportunity for us to work through our judgments, our fears, and to look at how we separate, how we can take something and say it's not of God, that we are of God, but artificial intelligence is not of God. So it brings us back to that very core spiritual lesson that we all have to learn with through, especially through Melissa Jolly's teachings in the color mirror system, is that you are God in a body. You're the one creating this. How can anything you create not be of God? You created, as humans, you created this artificial intelligence. You created this incredible engine that is able to go and write beautiful poems and very clever, witty things. And if the AI wrote the poem, in actual fact, didn't Dwayne write the poem? That is what I'm asking the audience. Was it really AI that wrote it, or was it an expression and a soul energy from Dwayne working through the AI's intelligence that created the poem? So that's a very interesting little question I'm going to leave the audience with, and they can put some comments as they're watching the replays, or maybe Deborah and Jane can say something. They can put comments in at the bottom.
Yeah, and I think I did tweak like 1 or 2 words, because again, it kind of spit out maybe more of I think, but I still left some. I think I left it because it talked about like green, like our money is green, which is more of a U.S. reference to green money. Like we were just in Costa Rica, and their money's like beautifully colored, just like ours, and it was amazing because it pretty much, it was like $1,000 bills. So we went out for dinner, and it made us feel it makes you feel kind of very rich, because all of a sudden, like, we're out for dinner and it cost us 29,000 krones, right? It's like, wow, and it worked out to be, you move it's like 0.002, so you double it and move the decimal to get a exchange rate, but it made you feel really wealthy when you're spending like thousands of dollars, thousands of units on dinner. But yeah, but again, their money is very like red and orange and blue and
Lots of lovely colors.
similar to our
And
money.
money is, I mean, money is just energy, and all energy is white, and white holds all the colors. Yeah. Dwayne, I want to thank you so much for coming to chat with me today. We're going to hand over to the audience now. And I'm going to give them a little reading based on which number bottle they chose today, number 1, 2, or 3. I'll put the camera over. But just before I do that, just to remind you that you can buy the 11 Pearls of Wisdom on Amazon. It's a soft copy. There's a hard copy version as well. And what we ask you to do with this book is enjoy it, read it, and then donate it, pass it forward, give it to a clinic, give it to a hospice, give it to cancer care treatment centers, anywhere where there's a coffee table that you can just leave it around, and let us know that you've done that. Let us know that the book is getting out there. I really appreciate, and people have been doing it. I've been getting comments in, but also take a photo of you doing it, and so we can put it on social media and keep the process of paying it forward going. Remember, it's a non-profit book. Dwayne and I are not making any money on this book. None of the authors are. We've all invested in creating it, and we need you and rely on you, the reader, to make sure that it gets out into the world. All right, so let's go and have a look. Share screen. And let's go and have a look at our bottles for the day. There we go. So 1, 2, or 3, Dwayne, you chose number 3. We've had Deborah and Joanne that was joined us, chose 2.
Yeah. And Sherry just picked number 2 as well.
And Sherry just picked number 2 as well. Fantastic. All right. So let's do number 1 first. Number 1, the random bottles that picked up for the reading today is bottle 23, and it is indigo. And indigos and royal blue. And of course, we're in 2023. We're in an indigo third eye energy year. So those of you who have picked number 1, you are asked this week to tune into your intuition, to tune into your third eye, to tune into that sense that goes beyond logic and reason. So if you have a decision to make, this is a very good week for you to really go with that gut instinct, that feeling that you get, as opposed to what logic dictates you decide to do. So for anybody facing any choices this week, go with the feeling, go with your intuition, your gut instinct. It will not let you down. The other side to 23, of course, is it comes with a little test. It says there'll be a little test for you this week. Just kind of, say you, like with Dwayne, you've made a commitment to watch out for your self-sabotaging, and you are going to change your health, and then something comes up this week that wants to divert you. Remember, that's just a little test. Stick to the commitment you've made to change, to not go down the path of self-sabotage. Now, those of you who picked number 2, you have got bottle 25, which is yellow at the bottom and a deep turquoise on the top, and this bottle is called Trust. This is a week to go into trust. This is a week to trust your decisions, to trust your choices, to trust people around you, even if they're not trustworthy. Is give them the benefit of the doubt. All right. So maybe you're going to sign a contract and you're not sure, should I read the fine print? You're really going to have to go into the energy of trust and believe that the universe isn't out to get you. It's not out to betray you like it has happened before. So also a good week to kind of maybe look back and go, oh, who has broken trust? Who has broken that trust bond with me? And maybe do a little forgiveness exercise with them, so that the next time you come up with a similar situation, you can automatically trust without too much fear. How's that one sounding, number 2s? I hope you like it. Keep the trust process going, all right? And Dwayne, you picked 3, and 3 is Merlin. It's Merlin the Magician bottle. So not part of the Color Mirror's main system, but it was one that just popped up today as it had to be number 3. So Merlin is the master magician. Merlin is the wise sage, the one that is not going to tell you how to solve your problem, but is going to instill in you, reminding you that you have the ability to create your own magic. You could all be Merlins. That's one of the things I love about this bottle. Is it's not just magic coming in and doing things for you, but it's reminding you have the ability to wave your magic wand and to have things happen because you wish them to. So what do you wish for this week? What do you hope can happen this week? What is a bit of magic you can do with? Know that you have the power to make that magic a reality. How's that feeling, Dwayne? Because you picked number 3.
Yeah, I like magic. So as part of it, one of the is wishing and magic. It's interesting because again, we just not to keep hammering on the fact that we just came back from Costa Rica, but a number of years ago, I don't even remember when, but a number of years ago, when doing personal development, it's like you kind of mapping out like what your dream life would be, and I'm like, I wanted to live somewhere where we could just walk out and pick a mango from a tree. And then literally we were in Costa Rica and we went and visited a friend that we were with. A friend of his is doing permaculture and has this 20-acre farm, and he's actually growing mango trees in Costa Rica. And the Thailand and the Indian varieties of mangoes, they're importing trees, grafted trees from Asia. And then he had this like 2 big crates of mangoes. So instead of tasting wine, we did a mango tasting. We were up to our elbows in mango juice. So part
Oh,
of it
that's
is
nice.
you
That's
just
the real way to eat mangoes, that juice dripping down your arms.
but you just put it out there and then you don't necessarily dwell on it. You just kind
Yeah.
of put it out there and then you just pay attention, but then you kind of look back and you're like, wait a second, like I didn't know that they grew like. And when we're driving, when the guy picked us up driving from like the airport to where we're staying, on the side of the road are like crates of mangoes for $5. And we're like, you buy like 2 mangoes for $5 in the grocery
I
store. You
know
don't even
that
know if they're going to be good or not. And
yeah.
there you're getting like a whole crate of mangoes. So I'm starting to plan a return trip to Costa Rica next May for like 2 or 3 weeks. Not necessarily to live there yet, but go in May when it's mango season.
When it's May mango season in Costa Rica. Dwayne, thank you so much. I'm just checking here. Deborah said she has been working, because she picked number 2. She's been working with the bottle number 25 for a few weeks now. And thanks, and have a great week. Thanks, Deborah. Thank you, everybody, for joining Dwayne and myself in our copper chat this week. Use copper to sweeten your life, just like the mango conversation. Just imagine like honey and mangoes dripping down your arms and go and sweeten your life. That's really that's the job of copper. It's chocolate. Go and have a chocolate. Go and sweeten your life. And not Dwayne, because he's on a health kick right now.
Actually, it's
But
interesting when you say that. We actually, in the fridge, I have a big block of chocolate, like 100% pure, that we brought back from Costa Rica with the cacao.
of course you do.
So they're going to actually start making some of our own chocolate that we can
Fabulous.
you like that.
Dwayne, thank you so much for joining us, and everybody watching. And please remember, I do have a program starting on the 7th of June, numerology, color planets course to help you earn money, to add another module to your work so you can offer numerology color readings with planet information to clients. If you're interested in it, please let me know. It starts on the 7th of June. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us with the Copper Chat with Dwayne, our author of the Copper Pearl Wisdom. And Dwayne, thank you so much. Love you lots. Thank you for taking the time. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dwayne. I got to press my button. I say cheers, but I'm saying cheers again. Cheers, Dwayne. I got the right button this time.